Hello, and welcome to the basics of collection management in OCL. Today, we're going to be talking through some important information needed to make the most out of OCL's features with collections. We will also be jumping over to the OCL TermBrowser occasionally to demonstrate some of these topics. Let's get started.
First, let's go through some key terms in OCL. OCL has owners who own terminology content. Organizations are groups of users that can collaboratively manage repositories and team permissions, while users can create work on their own or they can create content within an organization. Terminology content in OCL is created in repositories. Repositories include sources and collections. Sources are version repositories of concepts and mappings, whereas collections are groupings of concepts and mappings, such as in a value set. We'll go over more in repositories later. Each of these repositories can hold resources, which include concepts and mappings. Concepts have the names, the definitions, and the metadata for an idea, such as a data point or an indicator. And then mappings represent relationships between two concepts. These concepts can be within OCL, or they can be between an OCL concept and a concept outside of OCL. Today, we're going to hone in on OCL's repositories in particular. Collections will be the focus of this video, but it's hard to think about OCL collections without understanding sources, so let's talk about both. Sources are for content that you or your organization create. Any resources, whether they are individual concepts or mappings between concepts, have to live in a source in OCL. Therefore, novel content that you are creating and maintaining. Collections, however, are for bringing content together, usually from multiple places, to meet a particular purpose or need. These can include content from sources or from other collections. Concepts and mappings must originate from a source, however, and then they can be gathered into a collection. You cannot create concepts or mappings that exist only in a collection. All concepts eventually need to come from a source. In short, collections are the only place where you can gather content that's owned by other organizations, like CL or ICD-10. In short, although both repository types hold concepts and mappings, they have very different uses. So now, let's do a fun little analogy. We're going to pretend that OCL is a music service. And in this analogy, sources are like albums. They contain your own songs, or in OCL, they're concepts and mappings. If the song that you want doesn't exist, then you can record the song yourself, or in OCL terms, you can create the concept or the mapping. Collections, on the other hand, are like playlists. They let you gather up your new songs plus other great songs that you didn't make. All songs eventually have to come from an album before you can put them in your playlist. And then once you have your playlist ready, you can put it to use for that particular purpose.
Now, I want to show you an example of how collections and sources are used in OCL. Let's walk through an example. Let's say we have a data collection form about smoking status. This form would need answer concepts, some of which exist in another source like CL, and others which are unique and do not exist in another source. In OCL, you can start off easy by gathering the existing CL concepts into a collection. But we still have the unique concepts that we're going to need to make. In OCL, we can create those concepts within a source. Then we can gather up those concepts into our collection. And now our collection has all the concepts we need for our form. Now keep in mind that this might get you started with your form, but your form might need to be maintained over time. So this might mean that you're going through the kind of cycle again. You might be finding more concepts in CL, or you might be creating more concepts that don't exist in CL but needed to be added to your form. So now I'm jumping over into OCL, where you can see an example of this smoking status collection that I put together. As you can see, we've got our CL concept for smoking status, and this is the question. The rest of these concepts in here are potential answers to that question. You might say that that person is a current everyday smoker, which is a concept CL already has, or we might have some more specific answers that CL didn't have, like maybe an unspecified smoker here. So as you can see, This collection here is made up of a mix of CL concepts and my own source concepts.